What's up, y'all? Happy, what is today? Friday? Yeah, I think so. Happy Friday, everybody. All right. So, yeah, how's everybody doing today? It's been an eventful couple of weeks here at HCHQ. More on that later. Not today, though. But, yeah, hopefully everyone's having a good Friday. It's chaotic and busy, but when is it not, right? There are worse things in life. So, all right. So what do we got here? Let's see. Wow, you guys have been talkative since been waiting. I realize started a few minutes late. I know. I suppose I ought to bring up chat too, right? Jeez, you'd think I'd know how to do this by now. There we go. Hey, there, cool. So yeah, if you guys didn't hear, we were just fortunate enough to announce the news that Capstone Games is starting a new series of games, Winsome-esque games, starting off with the Winsome title, Irish Gauge. That's going to be coming Origins, Gen Con timeframe of next year. Going to have a $30 to $40 MSRP. And going to start a series of those games, whether that's reprints, new games, whatever. But the first one, Irish Gauge. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. Nice of Clay to allow us to announce that. Pretty stoked for that, and happy for, well, Tom Russell, first off, because that's my favorite Winsome of all time outside of Age of Steam. You could argue whether or not Age of Steam is a Winsome. I think it is. But as well as all train gamers and everybody out there that likes, those type of games, which obviously I do. I don't have a copy of Irish Gauge, so I'm very excited to be able to share this news. I'll be honest, I've known about it for a number of months. I have not been allowed to say anything until, I's are dotted, T's are crossed, and all of that stuff. So that said, I appreciate y'all's patience and understanding in that. But yeah, that's exciting to be able to announce that today. And talked to Clay yesterday and said, you know what? How about right ahead of the Ask the Elephant today? So there we are. All right. So yeah, exciting stuff. At least, well, in my opinion, that's exciting stuff. So hopefully you guys are stoked for that as well. Pretty hard to get a hold of it right now, and it's pretty expensive when it is available. So yeah, good stuff. All right. All right, cool. Wow. Is Capstone going to set up a pre-order? That's actually a really good question. I don't know the details on that yet, but I can, since you guys are here and it's just us, I can go ahead and mention a little bit more about that here. So let me get to Clay's email. So here's what we're going to do also. All right. We're going to run a contest that's open for, well, any of our listeners or viewers here. So it runs through starting right now until our next Ask the Elephant, which is going to be sometime in, realistically, it'll be late September is my guess. So you'll have just over a month. So how this is going to work is you guys try and come up with the series name for what this is going to be. For these series of Winsome-esque games. And here, I'll actually read exactly so you guys have context here. Creating a new series of games focused on these Winsome-style games. Do a contest for viewers and patrons to come up with the name of the series of games. We're planning for the games to be in a numbered series, same box size as Carthago with an MSRP of $30 to $40. And here are the rules. So if Capstone chooses one of the names, Capstone returns all the rights to the name. The winner is going to get a copy of Irish Gauge, as well as a 20-ounce Capstone Games engraved stainless steel tumbler, powder coated so it won't chip, fade, or rust. I think it's funny that Clay wrote that to me. Free shipping in the U.S. and Canada, or first $25 covered anywhere for international winners. And total MSRP of the package is going to be $100. And he'll let us know if he chooses any of the names. As far as how to do this, why don't you guys just send an email to, well, I'm going to regret this later, but contact@heavycardboard.com with the title Capstone Games Train Contest. And then it's open until the next Ask the Elephant. So for the next month or so. All right. Cool. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Very, very excited about that. All right. All right, the boss. So Tom's here in chat, says the boss is telling me, i.e. Mary, that he has to go run errands now. Thanks for the well wishes and congrats. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. And the series name should be CCMF, and it could be, Choo Choo, my friend. So yeah. All right. Well, since you guys aren't asking questions, I'm going to ask some of the questions that folks asked over in the guild. So here we go. I got them printed out here. All right. All right. So the first one actually is, you guys are really good with the first question being hard hitting right off the bat. So Brian Fromm asks, as a content creator in the hobby, would be interesting to hear how you weigh the time spent traveling to conventions versus the time spent producing content. How does having both patrons and sponsors weigh into the decision? We don't really have a whole lot of sponsors right now. We have Meeple Realty, and that's it. We may have more either coming back or coming, but that's it. So that doesn't really come into play. As far as having patrons, I suppose it comes into play in that I have an obligation to produce the show. But outside of that, I don't really think that comes into play. How do you weigh the time spent traveling to conventions versus the time spending content? Well, coming into this year, I had a plan for 13 or 14 conventions this year, and I was going to hammer out going to all these conventions more or less as an experiment this year to be able to find out which ones are beneficial for the show in general and which ones do I want to attend. And so I'm going to all these conventions this year, which was pre-planned going back to last year, to do exactly that. And we have, let's see, I have 3, maybe a 4th one left for the calendar year, and that's it. And then next year, we're going to scale all that back. How does it play a part? It's hard to do all of this with, a 2-person crew right now, plus obviously the small council and those folks that help behind the scenes. It's hard. But that was the plan coming into this year. So this year we're just executing that plan. And obviously life comes into play in that and affects this on both sides, both convention-wise as well as content-wise. And you know what? That's just the nature of the beast. We're learning how to roll with the punches with this stuff. And there's more changes coming. There are more things coming. So you learn to be semper gumby, always flexible. But how does it come into... how do I juggle that, I guess, is what you're asking, is delicately, and you do the best you can. Try and pre-plan for every known trip and make lemonade out of lemons when there are a lot of unexpected things that come down. So yeah, it's I'm looking forward to being settled eventually. That will probably happen sometime after Essen is my guess, is when things will calm down for me, but we'll see. But yeah, it's a juggling act, and I assure you that there is nothing more that I want than to just produce content for the show. 70, 80 hours a week, both between the scenes or behind the scenes, as well as on camera or behind the mic for the podcast. And I think that day is quickly approaching when that's going to be. So yeah, that's a good start. So somebody asked about the Aegis theme announcement. I don't have anything signed, sealed, and delivered, but I do have some handshake agreements to reprint some maps. How's that? That's the best I can do, because we don't have anything signed yet, but yeah, that's coming. So there you go. Jim asks, any thoughts on the new FFG unique game thing? I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Dueling card game and adventure game where none are the same. Gimmick, interesting. Could be both, could be neither. Could be one of them. I don't know, and I really couldn't care less. I don't have any interest whatsoever in that. I appreciate that they're trying to push the envelope, maybe, but the question is it... I imagine, well, this hobby can be a bit of a money sink anyways, because let's face it, a lot of us, I should say, are always looking for the latest, greatest hotness or whatever, and buying games. This hobby is not cheap. So is that another way to get your gaming dollar? I'm sure it is, but if people like it, then they should play it. But as far as my thoughts, don't really have any, because that's outside my interests. Very, very little interest, and by little I mean none there. Philip asks 2 questions. What game not heavy cardboard related? No such thing right now, Philip. Have you been playing, and what new game are you most anticipating? Well, the most anticipating is a no-brainer. That's still going to be Mr. President and City of the Big Shoulders. Those are the 2 that are highest, and I think Pipeline is going to be awfully high up there as well. And the cost, which is recently signed by Spielworks, but I think that's a couple years off, so I'm not even going to talk about that one. But yeah, as far as anticipating, I'll be honest, there isn't a whole lot coming out this year that I'm super stoked about. A lot of these are pushed to 2019 that have me really stoked. And I know Alubari just recently, to the surprise of all of us, including Tony, the designer, got pushed to 2019. He didn't know that, and nobody else did except apparently Matago. So there's that. So a lot of these games are getting pushed to 2019. But yeah, as far as what game not heavy cardboard related have I been playing a lot, there isn't such a thing as not heavy cardboard related of late. And I would say Root. And I know everybody's probably either sick of the hype or sick of hearing about Root, but I really enjoy it, and I'm excited to play it more, excited to play the expansion. Just got my copies of Brass, Lancashire, and Birmingham, so looking forward to digging into those. But yeah, I'd go with Root. Oh, Clay's in chat. Hi, Clay. What are my thinky fillers of 2018 so far? Fort Sumter, Flow of History, Reprint, and Carthago. I'll be honest, see, it's hard for me to get excited for the reprints of games that I've had for the better part of a year now with Carthago, and Flow of History had since before last, about a year, I'd say. Thinky fillers, I guess Fort Sumter, but man, I mean, you could argue, and I don't want to get into a fight about this, but The Mind has got to be up there. But actually, more than The Mind, his other game called Illusion or Illusions, I think I enjoy more than The Mind. If you guys haven't checked that out, super simple game. It's a bunch of cards. It's a deck of cards that on one side has a picture, just abstract geometric art or words or something with different colors on it. And you have to put them in a ascending order of whatever the color is, of the percentage of color of that's on that card. So maybe there's only 3% of it on this one. There's 8%, there's 13%, 23%, 33% of that. And on the back side of the card, it shows the percentage of that. And on your turn, you have one of 2 choices. You either lay a card out in that line and fitting it in where you think it would fit in, if we're talking about the green color on there. So if you think this one has between this one and this one, you slide it in there. Or the other choice is you call it, i.e. I don't think the line is correct. You turn them all over, and if you're right, you win that card. And it's a race to, I think, 5 points. And that's it. So very simple, but really, really have enjoyed that game. And everybody who has played it has enjoyed it that I've been around. So that would definitely be high up there as well. Although I don't know if that was 2017 or 18, but we'll put that on there as well. Jonathan asks, having been at Gen Con, I can say that the cons are definitely just a relaxing vacation for Edward. Ha, thanks, John. Ha, Jonathan's got jokes. I don't think I saw a 2-minute stretch where he wasn't working, talking to a listener, etc. But all I can do, because I know some people have the image of I go to these conventions and it's a big vacation. The only thing I can do is produce content while I'm there with the Daily Diaries, which I did, and only about 600 people listen to on the supplemental podcast feed. So if that sounds like something you would like to listen to, the Daily Diaries at Gen Con, go check out the Heavy Cardboard supplemental feed on your podcast player. Produce that and do the recap show, and hopefully people enjoy it. And if not, then I'm only going to go to so many conventions going forward, because if there's a lot of pushback, then it doesn't make sense. But yeah, I can definitely say met upwards of 150, 200 different listeners and viewers and patrons of the show, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But yeah, it's an exhausting, I guess, what is that, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday being travel day, usually 7 days. That's a pretty busy week. But I appreciate that, Jonathan. Thanks. Checks in the mail. John says, I'm thinking that Comcast and Delta Airlines should be sponsors since you mentioned them on several occasions. Yeah, no doubt, right? It's been Delta getting back from my buddy's wedding up in Vancouver. That wasn't so fun. They wouldn't hold the flight. So leaving Vancouver, they didn't hold the flight in Seattle. 10 minutes. 10 of us missed our connecting flight back to Denver, so stayed until 12:30 at night, caught a flight to Minneapolis, then got there at 5:30 in the morning, then left at 7 a.m. for Denver. That was a lot of fun, said no one ever. And Delta never even said anything. They offered a $15 food voucher, not a hotel stay, not anything like that, just $15 food voucher. Thanks. Yeah, and Comcast, screw Comcast. So Jason says Montreal Metro one time. It's funny you asked that or say that, because somebody also asked, let's see. There it is. What's the next Age of Steam map that we plan to play through? So here's an early spoiler. Montreal Metro 3-player next week. That's coming. So look for that. Date and time to be announced on the weekly look ahead, or just if we don't do the weekly look ahead, it'll be on social media. It'll be the graphic tweeted out on Facebook, on the guild, and on the Slack channel if we do that. All right, so that's cool. All right, I am way behind. Shocker, I know. So let's see here. Hold on one second. All right. All right, Adam says, first let me say I don't think this is an issue of a real conflict of interest, but it could be one of appearance of a conflict of interest. And since it's been active in Slack, I thought I would ask. That being said, I trust you to always provide your true opinions and ratings on games, and that you aren't influenced by sponsorship. So what are you asking exactly, Adam? I'll double back when you ask that, all right? Because I don't know that there's a question there. All right. Joseph, have I tried the Belle of Dayton gin yet? Sadly, no. That may happen very, very soon, though, with the way things are going. But I will. Thank you very much, Joseph. Tony K is asking Clay to reprint Age of Steam. Age of Steam is probably going to be coming in 2019. Probably. Kurt asked, does Root deserve all the hype it's getting? Deserve? I don't know about deserve. I have a hard time saying if something's worth it or if it deserves it, et cetera, et cetera. Is Root a really good game? Yup, I think so. And is it going to be a fit for everybody? No. But you factor in cute artwork, cute animals, and really engaging play, and I think that brings a lot of interest from a lot of parts of the hobby that wouldn't normally be interested in a game like that. If it were themed something a lot more grognard or something a lot more real world, I don't think it would be getting the amount of buzz around it that it is. So I do think all that was very, very smart on their part. And do I think it's a good game? I think it's an excellent game. So I said that it's one of the ones I'm most excited to play some more of. So there's that. So does it deserve it? Nah, that's my take on Root in general. If you watch the patron-only Glory to Rome stream of Root the other night, we did a roundtable discussion that actually talked pretty in depth about that. And I don't want to talk too much about that for the simple fact that it was a sponsored playthrough, and I don't want to go back to what Adam was referring to because it was a sponsored playthrough. I don't want to give thoughts on that with the live stream, but we will review it. And when we do, then we will, because that's completely independent of the live stream. Adam, however, okay, how do you handle Golden Elephant Award nominations awards in games that are sponsored playthroughs? I'll be honest, if the game deserves a Golden Elephant Award nomination, it's going to get it. I don't really care whether or not it was a sponsored playthrough or not. And I feel like we've earned enough latitude and enough trust in our viewers, listeners, patrons, so on and so forth, that I don't feel like that's a slippery slope, because a couple $100 really isn't, my integrity's worth a whole lot more than that. If there is a game that, I mean, I guess I could understand it if there were games that were sponsored playthroughs that really are just not good games. But you know what? I'm just not worried about it. If people have a problem and question my integrity on this stuff, then that's on them. I have been, and we have been, completely transparent about everything. More so than I think I feel comfortable saying, more so than anybody in the industry. So if somebody's going to question my integrity, that's on them. So, yeah, I just don't have a problem with it. I mean, obviously, this is going to come up with Root being a sponsored playthrough. Not a sponsored review. We don't do those. And if it gets a Golden Elephant Award nomination for 2018, are people going to raise an eyebrow? That's on them. If that comes to pass, I'm sure eventually some game is going to get a sponsored playthrough, and it's going to be the bee's knees, so to speak, and it's going to get a nomination. But if anybody has a problem with it, then you can ask me. You can tell me why you don't think it would deserve the Golden Elephant Award, and we could have a discussion about that in a public setting. I'd be perfectly fine with that, because every game that I can go back to a given year and make a very compelling, legitimate case as to why a game was a Golden Elephant Award nominee. I have no problem with that. Zero. And I won't have a problem with it because, again, my integrity is worth more than a couple $100. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, actually, and on that note, so Adam says, a lot still not yet released this year, but so far the big contenders, in his opinion, for the Golden Elephant Award are Root, Teotihuacan, which is going to be coming, and Brass Birmingham. Brass Birmingham's a reprint that won't be eligible, but I get your point. And you know what? Yeah, it's people are going to have to make their own determinations on whether or not they can trust my my integrity or not. That's simple. Yeah, I can guarantee that Age of Steam will not be coming in 2018. But I feel pretty good that 2019 you'll see Age of Steam come back. And the finish part on Adam says you decided to remove roundtable discussions from sponsored playthroughs. Will or should they be allowed to be nominated for the Golden Elephant Award? And the answer is yes, they will be allowed. And again, if folks want to have a discussion about it, I am more than happy to do so. Cool. Yeah, James says the Mr. President's targeting the 2020 election or something like that. Yeah, right. Yep, and Dennis confirmed that Eagle Griffin said 2019 in the escape plan comments, so we'll see. But I do have it. I do feel pretty good that 2019 you'll see Aegis theme coming back. James asks, is Amanda planning to leave the show? You'll have to ask Amanda that. Let's see. Jason asks, what's the latest on the City of the Big Shoulders? The latest that I saw, Raymond, at Gen Con, saw the prototype. I actually talked about this in last night's episode. And I have one of the final prototypes sitting downstairs right now, and you're going to be seeing a playthrough of that in the coming months. I know he's targeting. Wow, hold on. Whew. Sorry about that. All right. He's targeting Kickstarter later on this year for the game. And anything more than that, I don't know. I think I heard either September or November. That's what I think I heard. For some reason, November is in my head. So I'm going to say sometime this year is what he is told, what he's looking to do. And yeah, and you'll see a playthrough of it either ahead of the Kickstarter or during the Kickstarter. That's not sponsored. That's just I'm doing that because I'm really excited about the game. How's that? Okay, cool. Let's see. And the rabbi says, who about Teotihuacan City of the Gods? And I think he meant, what about Teotihuacan? That's going to be it's going to be released in October. A sponsor playthrough of that's going to be coming ahead of the release. As far as an exact time frame, I don't want to promise yet, but it will be ahead of the release. Full teach and playthrough live stream. And I can safely say this. Ever since I saw and first heard about Teotihuacan in March at the Gamma Trade Show, I have not once heard a single person who has tried it say a single negative thing about that game. Yeah, that's going to be a really, really big hit for NSKN. I have a feeling it's got a $50 MSRP, and I think the pre-order on Miniature Market's still available for $35, which for as big a game as that is, for $35, that's laughably cheap. So can I say it's worth it? Yeah, in that case, I feel the price point is so low that, yeah, I think in this hobby, I feel comfortable saying that one on that. Okay. Yep, Clay, I covered the contest, but you're more than welcome to type it all out. Go for it. Oh, I don't think I said hi, everybody. I did. I said hi, everybody, right? So welcome all the new listeners and stuff, or viewers. Whew, what format are we on? You would think because there's a camera, I would know this. Whew, been one of them days, y'all. Nick asks, what do you think about the roll and write phenomenon? I'm going to say that, hold on, let me finish this. Any plans to cover any of them as thinky filler types on the show or on YouTube in the future? So, okay, I get to have fun with this. What do I think about the roll and write phenomenon? I think it's going to be a phase that we're going through, just like we went through a mini games phase there for a little while, a year or two ago, however long ago that was. So I think it's just a phase we're going through. I have played a couple of them, and I'll be honest, I really enjoy them, whether they're roll and writes or whether they're like flip and write, for the Welcome to from Deepwater. I played a number of them, and I actually really, really enjoy them. So any plans to cover them as thinky filler types on the show or on YouTube in the future? Yes, I would like to do that. I'm sure people are going to bitch about it too, because I hear about how we're not doing enough of X, Y, or Z. But I think I'm getting to the point now to where I feel like the ratio is pretty good, and I'm going to ask patrons. They are going to do most months. They get to vote on one of the games that they want to see on a playthrough. But outside of that, I think I'm going to start doing a whole lot of games that I want to play on the show. and that I think deserve being highlighted and stuff like that. I'm excited about that. That should be a lot of fun. So yeah, there's going to be some of those as I get copies of them here and there. The ratio is still going to be like, as I said previously, to where, 80% of the games are going to fall square in our wheelhouse and 20% are going to fall outside of that. And, kind of a like a dealer's choice type game, card game night at when you get together with your friends or whatever and do that. Or, just, hey, what do you want to play? Hey, yeah, let's do that. So there's going to be 20% of that and 80% of our absolute core medium heavy war game, 18XX, train game, that type stuff. All right, cool. Bjorn asks, what are your thoughts on third-party game inserts organizers? Do I have any? Well, considering Meeple Realty is a sponsor of the show, yeah, I kind of dig them. I like putting together models, like, like model airplanes, model cars, stuff like that. And so there's that aspect to it. So I enjoy that. I also appreciate, especially considering the amount of some of these games, the setup time and the teardown time, inserts can really help with that. So I definitely really, really like it. Are they necessary? No. Invest in a ton of baggies. That's one option. I'll be honest, I wish most publishers would just do away with 95% of the inserts that come in games and just put everything on punch boards and give me a bunch of baggies and call it good. And if I want to buy a second hand or a third party insert, then absolutely, there's that. Otherwise, just throw it all in baggies. So even because I store all the games vertically, I have no problem with that, and I have no problem with the Meeple Realty inserts as well. I love them. It's just, it does, for me at least, I'm very meticulous, I think is a good way to put it, for putting them together. And so it takes me a couple hours on some of them, like the Arkwright one, the Tricerian one, stuff like that. But I really, really do like them. I think they look really good, and they speed up tear down and setup, which is a win-win all the way around. Are they necessary? No. The only thing that's necessary, in my opinion, are baggies. But yeah, I wish most publishers would just get rid of inserts. So there's that. Oh, okay. Sorry, Steph. We're supposed to be quiet, guys, because Steph forgot our headphones. Sorry. Shh. I think that ship sailed. And Tony Cameranian asked about another reprint at HeavyCon. Clay was, people were asking him about that. Is that one still happening? All I can say is, yep, don't worry about it. We'll announce it when we can announce it. How's that? All right, let's see. Yeah, and Joseph kind of reiterates what I just said, that if a game has a huge setup time, an aftermarket insert can make 30 minutes turn into 30 seconds. And maybe not exactly that, but even down to 2 or 3 minutes is a huge time saver. So, yeah, definitely. And thank you, Rabbi. He says he listened to all the daily diaries. Thank you. And Franny liked him as well. Good. So there's 2 of the 600 of y'all that listen to him. I appreciate it. Thanks. All right. Kurt says, I've never checked out your podcast before, just your playthroughs. I'll make a point to try them out. Awesome. Please do. And let me know what you think. Feedback is good. Even when it's corrective criticism. If you have suggestions on what we can be doing better, absolutely, we are receptive to that. So please, cool, and thanks, Kurt. That's awesome. Neil says, "What's going on with caffeine? It's coming back in a big way." Hold on. People are going to jump off the deep end when I say stuff like that. So let's throttle that back. We're going to start back up on caffeine, likely in October, maybe in September. Just a lot of balls in the air right now. But caffeine is still there and is still going to happen and is going to be used. Yeah, I think I can safely say this, that caffeine is going to be used more, but not to the detriment or to the exclusion of YouTube. There's just going to be more stuff as things are available, and as there's going to be a lot of time for me to be able to do that outside of obviously traveling to conventions. And just FYI, since I know people are going to ask what conventions are left this year, unlikely but possible Grand Con. Brian Lentz, who runs Grand Con, is relentless, dude. Just absolutely relentless. I'll have to tell that story sometime. But anyway, but Essen obviously is the big one, BGG Con, and PAX Unplugged. So, but yes, Caffeine will be back. We'll be doing more content on Caffeine in the coming months. And I won't promise until starting in October. There may be stuff before then, but definitely in October, you're going to start seeing more stuff. All right? Hey, Em. Jonathan says, killing me, Edward. Montreal Metro's on my wish list as another 3-player Age of Steam map. If we get sick of the moon, and now I'm probably going to have to pick it up if it plays well on stream. This just in, Jonathan. You're going to want it. A lot of people say that Montreal Metro is the best 3-player map along with the moon. So, sorry, not sorry. Eder asks, question. I appreciate that he put question in all caps, so I know that, all right, good on you, Eder. Take notes, Peanut Gallery. Do you guys have any plans to do a playthrough on something like Space Empires 4X? I would love to. As I've said this before, and this isn't a cop-out, this is just truth, I have about 1,000 games downstairs. And, you know, say somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 to 150 playthroughs a year. That's a lot of years worth of content down there, because almost everything down there I would like to do a playthrough of, some of which I'd like to do multiple playthroughs of. I mean, heck, if you're talking Age of Steam, there's 160 plus maps there alone. Obviously, we're not going to do them all, but maybe. But so, yeah, eventually we're going to be getting to all these games. So, yes, eventually I would love to do something like that. What's up, Robert? Okay, and TVG says, I played City of the Big Shoulders at Gen Con. It was fantastic. If you like Arkwright, 1846, or worker placements, I think all of those should be combined, then you're going to like this game. And you know what? That's pretty spot on. It really did feel like Arkwright meets an 18XX with a little bit of worker placement. I do know that he was only demoing the basic game and the advanced game, and there were a number of patrons that were there at HeavyCon that tried it that had some questions about City of the Big Shoulders and some of whether or not certain things just didn't have any agency to them, didn't have any, just they didn't feel important. But Raymond assured them, and I have seen in some aspect or in some parts that the advanced game does take care of some of their concerns. Does it take care of all of them? I'll be honest, I haven't played it enough to say, but I feel pretty strong that it's going to be a really, really good game. I'm really excited for that. What are my thoughts on My Little Scythe? Play it if you dig it. I heard it's cute, and I heard some people enjoy that more than they enjoy Scythe. I haven't seen it. I've seen pictures of it, and I have no interest personally in the game. There you go, Franny. Nick asks, when can we expect more top 6 lists? I miss those. You know what, Nick? You're the first person to ask about them. I'll write it down. And that's a good question. I don't want to make any promises, but yeah, I can make sure that we get some more up. I think that would be cool. Good. What's up, Warren? Yorick, hello from the Netherlands. Awesome. Have we played Battlestar Galactica? Nope. Thoughts? I know it has a trader element. The game's out of print with no likelihood of a reprint, so it's in our wheelhouse now. Honestly, I think that would be a fun one to stream, whether that's on Caffeine or on YouTube as one of those 20% games. I don't think it's really going to be up my alley. I don't think it's really going to be something that I'm going to be, yes, I can't wait to play it, but I'd be willing to give it a try and see. So never say never. What's up, Mills? Vince asking Clay questions. What's the likelihood of Capstone reprinting 18XX games? I don't want to speak for Clay, but I'll say that's probably unlikely. Just because I just don't think that's the direction that Clay's probably gonna go. Oh, he says I need to educate myself and understand more about the unique 18XX market first. Got some good stuff cooking though, I promise. He does. I can confirm that. Tesla says I think your award, meaning the Golden Elephant Award, is better than the Dice Tower Awards. I appreciate that, but I'm not going to say one's better than another. He says he trusts it more. I appreciate the trust that you put in us. I'm not going to say more or less, but I appreciate that very much. Also, I think the Spiel Portugal is a solid award. The Jogo de Ono, yeah, I think it's definitely a really good judge of solid midweight Euro. I definitely agree. And the people behind Spiel Portugal are amazingly good people, and consider them some of my very, very good friends. Very good guys. And yeah, solid award. I agree. Jason brings up a really good question, and I think this is something that we're going to have to decide on, but I think I have a feeling, which I'll talk my way through here with you guys. Going back to Golden Elephant Award and reprints not being eligible for the Golden Elephant Award, so on and so forth. So Brass Lancashire is a reprint. Yeah, they tweaked a few things here or there, but it's a reprint. However, Brass Birmingham is not a reprint. It is a variation. You know, it's kind of like how Age of Steam has different maps, etc., etc. This is its own standalone game in the family. I would argue that Brass Birmingham is a legitimate Golden Elephant Award nominee contender for the simple fact that 18XX games, the core at them is all the same, yet they're all in the same family, but they're all unique entities. They all have their own MacGuffins. So yeah, I think Brass Birmingham definitely would be eligible to be nominated for the Golden Elephant Award. I'm curious y'all's thoughts on that. And obviously there's a line, and we would have to figure out a clear explanation of where that line is. But my gut says, yeah, that kind of makes sense, you know? Yeah. Brant says Rise of Queensdale is wonderful. Has anyone else tried it? I'm not familiar with that, Brant, so learn me. And in 45 minutes, when I get down to the end of this, I'll be able to come back to that. And Eric just brought up about Birmingham, so just address that. And Tesla Volta Games TVG says this is so far, in his opinion, this is a pretty weak year, and I thought 2017 was a weak year. After 2014 to 2016 were such juggernaut years of gaming. I would say for the heavier end of things, last year wasn't the strongest year, of the most recent ones. 2018 has some stuff in it. Obviously, it has Lisboa was last year. Whew. There have been a handful of games. I think 2019 is shaping up to be a monster year. So yeah, I mean it's cyclic. It ebbs and flows. You can't always set records every single year for it being the best year ever, right? I mean, that's reasonable, or that would be unreasonable to expect. Oh, I finally got to Adam's response to the whole integrity thing. Says, I appreciate the answer and agree with you about integrity, proving yourself, being transparent, and sponsor playthroughs. And Trevor agrees that regarding sponsor playthroughs eligible for the Golden Elephant Award. And take this the right way, fellas, and any ladies out there watching. I appreciate the feedback. I really do. But that's just how it's going to be. That's just a command decision made by yours truly. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that people are on board with the idea. But yeah, that's a non-starter for me. I have zero issue with that whatsoever. On that note, that's also the reason why we would never charge anybody to put the Golden Elephant Award logo or finalist or nominee or winner on the box. That would be that would be not okay with me, because of the fact that, oh, they paid to have it on, so they were willing to pay, so that's why this one. No, not gonna even entertain that idea. So it all comes down to just integrity, and I feel like over the course of the last 4+ years, I've earned enough, a little bit of grace and latitude on this one. So there's that. Yorick asks, will you be traveling through the Netherlands again for Spiel or ahead of Spiel? Possibly. I don't know. Ask me more in a few weeks, or the next Ask the Elephant, and I should have a clearer answer for you then, Yorick. Okay? I hope so, but to be determined. Nick asks, will you be doing another SM preview episode with Punching Cardboard this year? Nope. Brant, so you know what? I feel like I need to expound on that. So if you, on a previous one, I talked about how somebody asked about the late night cardboard that Jim and I were talking about doing previously. And I said, nope, that's not going to happen either, because due to choices that he and I have made, we're not talking a whole lot anymore. So there's that. So I can't foresee either of those two things happening, which is a huge bummer on my part, on my end. I'm very sad about that. Jim's a really good guy, but yeah, so it is what it is. And Brant says, I watched friends play City of the Big Shoulders. Looked great, and they loved it. Well, there you go. I've been talking about it since Origins, so that is June of last year. So, yeah, I really think it's going to be an excellent game. Jim asks, have you had a chance to see Escape Plan by Vital? Yep. I saw it in early prototype, or mid-prototype maybe, at Lyriacon in Portugal, and then played it at Origins and talked about it in, I believe it was an episode following Origins. Let's see, who all was in that game? So Paul Grogan of Gaming Rules ran the game, and then it was me, Jess, Isaac Childress, and Jamie Maltman were the 4 players, and we had a crowd around us while we were playing it. I think that was on Wednesday before Origins began. And while it wasn't my favorite Vital game, it's one that I definitely want to play more and see if where it falls in the hierarchy of Vital games. It's funny. It's his latest game, but it's definitely not light. And when I say lightest, I don't mean including the one that he designed with his daughter, of the big games, if you will. Escape Plan is definitely, it's got a lot of stuff going on, and it's got a lot of moving pieces, and literally a lot of pieces to it. But yeah, it should be another solid Vital game. I want to play it more. It definitely wasn't my favorite, because that's Vinhos and Lisboa are up there for me. But I'll be honest, so is Kanban, so is the Gallerist. I really enjoyed. So yeah, I like Vital's games. Oh, okay. Philip says Game Surplus is also allowing pre-order of Teotihuacan. Okay, cool. Good to know. Did not know that. Jason asks, can't recall you ever saying this. Do you have your favorite abstract game? And by abstract, you mean like true abstract, like Go or chess, or more modern stuff like the GIF series. I don't know that I have. I do like a number of abstracts, but I can't think of which would be my favorite. I think the next time do the top 50, I'll highlight it then and talk about it then. I'll have to do some thinking on that. I don't think I have talked about that. Huh. Mills asks, any idea if you're going to do anything with PAX Emancipation or Bios Megafauna? Bios Megafauna, if somebody else is willing to come onto the show and teach it on a live stream, sure. As far as PAX Emancipation, possibly down the road, but I will say that, honestly, ahead of that, I would like to do Porphyriana, and I'd like to do PAX Premier 2.0 before I get to Emancipation, but it could be that they happen in different order. But yes, I would definitely like to do all three of them. How many dice fishing playthroughs are planned? 10 or 20? I would definitely, probably on the 20 side of things. No, that's definitely a little fun little dice chucker with a cool little theme. Actually have one copy to give away and gonna be giving it away on a live stream next week. Not sure which one, but there's that. So cool. Dutch Yoda, are you already counting down to Essen? No. Essen can wait. I'm not ready. Not ready for Essen. There is not ready for that. Pipe Mats, Peipmatz is an excellent thinky filler, Brant says. I'll have to check it out. Okay, cool. Oh my, I am way behind. To the surprise of exactly 0 people. Reynald says, anytime VTOL will send you a work in progress copy to test escape plan. I do know that Eagle is going to make sure that we get an advance copy. And we'll see ahead of it actually being released, because they couldn't do anything for us in time for the Kickstarter. So look for it down the road. By the way, I once again backed and discovered Brass because of you, and God, it's good. Yet to try Birmingham. I'm not going to say I told you so, Reynald, but I told you so. Here's a question I have for you guys real quick, and I'll catch up to it in about an hour, is have we steered you guys wrong at any point one way or the other, either through our reviews or through our live streams? So this kind of goes back to the whole integrity question. Have we ever have you guys ever thought, oh, wow, they're just, faking it up for X, Y, or Z? Or have we steered you correctly one way or the other, either towards a game or away from a game in every instance? I'm curious, how many mistakes? That's what I want to hear about, is how many times we steered you wrong on a game. So I'll get to the comments here a little bit later. I'm real curious to hear about that. Philip says, yeah, the Meeple Realty Arkwright insert's a ton of work, but I enjoyed it. It was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. Like spend a day, a couple hours after work one night or whatever, and just, I really enjoy it. You could even go so far as to stain the wood. I mean, it's like a model. If you like building models, I think you'll enjoy building those, right? Hey, Brian, made a live stream. Hi. And there you go. And that's another perk for the insert for Arkwright, is knocking over workers, setting the game up. Exactly. Just pull it out. Oh, that thing's awesome. And the Yokohama one is, I don't know that they make any inserts that aren't really great for what they are. Yeah. Are they necessary? No. Do they help? Yes. And do they look cool? Yes. So there you go. There we go. Had something in my eye. Sorry. Mur's got jokes. Hi, Mur. Any chance we're going to see a playthrough of the Brady Bunch party game? Never know what happens on April Fool's Day. Can't tell you. Wow. Brant says, my wife made us an insert for Gloomhaven. It was a 2-month labor of love, but works so well. Wow. You know what? But if it's a labor of love and it's something you guys enjoy and she enjoyed making it, hey, dig. Jonathan says, I even listened to the daily diary I was in. That was a little weird, but I hadn't heard what people who went after me said because we were tearing down the booth by then. Yeah, it's I still don't like the sound of my own voice. I still don't like listening to the show, but you get used to it, I guess, but still don't like it. Need a suggestion, more Rabbi on the feeds. Well, We have 2 of them. So that very well could happen down the road, Philip. Yeah, right after the MacGyver escape room game. Yeah, right. No doubt. There we go. All right. And Vincent says, listen to all the daily diaries. Loved them. Gave me a small sense of what it's like to be there. If that's what I'm after. That's the whole purpose of them. But it's just a matter of whether or not people listen to them and whether or not they think it's worth the time and the effort and the work that goes into them, whether or not to do them or not. So. And Christopher says caffeine for patron only, Glory to Rome style. Can't do that because you can't make it. There's no way to not make it available to folks, so I can't do that, Christopher. But there is going to be more caffeine stuff, definitely. And Andrew, so we've had a lot of feedback on having 2 podcast feeds, one for the now fortnightly release of the podcast on every Thursday or every other Thursday it's going to be, and having the second feed being all the supplemental stuff and everything that isn't that. Because the funny thing is that's what we heard, the feedback we got from that really big survey that we did. And yet people just aren't really downloading on that. So, you know what? Maybe we scrap it and we go back to the one original feed. I don't know. We'll see. We're going to talk about this behind closed doors with the small council. But your feedback, y'all, is absolutely paramount to helping us make a decision on this. So give us feedback on this. And by not downloading it, you're kind of giving us that feedback in and of itself. You know what I mean? Dig the daily diaries. Also, anything on the podcast feed I listen to. YouTube, not so much. Ellen says, okay, cool, fair enough. And Clay says, yes, GrandCon, do it. Brian sent you, didn't he? All right, so here, I'll tell the quick story. So Brian Lentz, who runs GrandCon, he had sent me a email and talked to him at Origins about, hey, it's probably too late this year to come to GrandCon in Grand Rapids, Michigan in mid-September. And I was like, yeah, the schedule's pretty full. Probably can't do it. Then he sent me an email and it got missed. And so I saw him at the last few conventions. I think Dicerathon, definitely Gen Con. And he has minions that he sent. It felt like 40 or 50 different people to come up and be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to Grand Con, this and that. Oh, are you going to Grand Con? Oh, you're not? Oh, man, it'd be great to have you there. And then just random people be like, hey, are you coming to GrandCon this year? And I'm like, damn you, Brian, damn you. So it seems the entire hobby, apparently there's about 200,000 people coming to GrandCon. I didn't think it was that big, but it seems it's going to be that big just from a simple fact that everybody and their mother, it seems, is coming up saying, hey, you coming to GrandCon? So he's wearing us down. So maybe, we'll see. Yes, Christopher, PAX Unplugged. I may actually be hosting a couple of things going on, event things that are going on there. Stay tuned on that. Trevor, I don't know if you saw the conversation in Slack. I did. But a few of us would really love a teach and playthrough of BIOS Megafauna 2nd edition. What do you think? I think that would be wonderful. Here's also what I thought, or what I think. I started to read through the rules, and I had to look up 3 words in the first paragraph. I don't know how to play it. I'm really intimidated by that one. I know, you know what? Maybe I could get somebody on here who can teach it and have them run the game and do that. And yeah, I would love to do that. So maybe that could happen, huh? Not going to mention any names, but you know who you are out there. So we'll see how that goes. Vincent said, you made me install the podcast app on my phone. Never had one before. Dude, there are podcasts about everything out there. I saw something like there are 200,000 active podcasts, either in the world or in North America right now. There for a while, I was listening to a model railroad podcast when I had more time. You know, there's dramas like old school radio. There is everything, and obviously board game podcasts. I highly recommend it. And my all-time favorite podcast, just that got me into this, The History of Rome by Mike Duncan. 176 episodes, I think it was, 10 to 15 minute. Amazing. If you're a history buff, go listen to that. It's totally worth it. And the battle for Hoth that Mike was able to put in there during one of the episodes, one of the single greatest moments in podcasting history, in my opinion. So well done, Mike. See, and now Nick, come to Grand Con. It'll be great. See what I mean? All right, Rabbi's going to be at PAX Unplugged and BGG. Cool. Mills asks, Edward, how excited are you about everything Capstone's putting out in the near future? Yeah, they just go into our library and Clay just picks games. It's like, oh, they really like that? I'll try and reprint that. I'll reprint that. I'll reprint that. And then Pipeline, the first original game that he's doing, we played at BGG Con. Was it 2 BGG Cons ago? They all run together at this point, and loved it then. Played it with Tommy from Meeple Realty, and yeah, we really enjoyed that. So really looking forward to that. Plus, Ian O'Toole's artwork makes everything better, right? So yeah, definitely stoked for it. Everything, totally. And Joseph, yeah, Grand Rapids is a great city. See, terrible. Edward, would you ever consider doing a top 6 or 10? No, it's top 6. List of your favorite 2-player games? Yup. We actually we have a list of like 50 ideas for top 6 lists. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's already on there, but I can make sure. Jason says my 4-year-old Elise is saying hi to you like it's FaceTime. Is he real? Hi, Elise. How you doing? Hi. All right, I'm going to get back to it now, okay? It was good talking to you. James says you should play all of the Aegis theme maps. Everyone should. I feel like you're biased here, James. But you're not wrong. Andrew, question. Thank you. Have you revisited 4X at all since your initial playthrough? Yep, played it I think 3 times and definitely want to revisit it. You're going to see a live stream and possibly a review of that coming in the coming months. Yes. I still think it's awfully clever and dry as a bone, and I love it. Yeah. Jim asks, what war game titles are in your future? Everything that's downstairs, but not really a war game. But that's going to be the next type of that. Nemo's War is going to be coming, but let's just say there's going to Sekigahara is going to be this calendar year. I know I've said that before, but I really mean it this time. More block war games and some of the not super long 2-player war games are going to be on the docket. Hopefully this calendar year as well. Dutch Yoda asks, can you do a top 6 heavy solo games? I'd have to play enough of them, but yeah. Now, here's the question, though, Dutch Yoda. Would it be solo-only games or games that can be played solo? Or that could be 2 different lists. Oh. And wow, there's a whole lot of love for top 6 lists. You guys do love your lists, don't you? All right. Side note, take a look at Cataclysm. It's downstairs. I'm going to, I promise. Jim. Andrew, I cannot agree with that enough. Andrew says, I do lobby for Union versus Central to be included in Capstone's Winsome line. I think there is little chance of that actually ever coming to happen. But yes, please. I so desperately want to play that game and to have a copy of that game. Micro Dice excluded, though. Andrew says, I thought that the Age of Steam maps were not eligible previously as they were extensions of a system similar to Brass Birmingham. I would say this. If it's a standalone game in the system, I think that would be okay because, okay, the Age of Steam maps are just the maps and the rules. You still need Age of Steam to play it, right? Whereas an 18XX is an extension of the system or of the family. It's its own game outside of the winsome 18XXs, which need 1830. So by that rationale, then Brass Birmingham also would be eligible for that. Does that make sense? Oh, Bjorn, you're killing me. It says in a few months. Oh, no, it starts this month. We'll reach the 1 year as full time. Well, technically, I guess that's October or November, technically. Any plans to avoid a drop of patrons that chose to support you for a year? Yeah, I have a lot of plans to avoid that. A lot. Don't do that. Not that I think anyone here would consider doing that. Yeah, there are. So, hold on. So for those that don't know, right there at the bottom of the screen, there in the corner, there's pledgehc.com. If you go on there, there are two ways you can support the show through that. One, there are two buttons. One takes you to Patreon, which is a monthly, it's not a subscription, just a monthly support of the show. And so on the first of the month, your credit card gets charged at whatever level you choose to support. The base level is $5. We do have a $2 level, but that excludes a lot of the perks. But the base level is $5, and it goes all the way on up from there. However, the other option on Pledge HC is another button that takes you to the show store. And the show store is where you can buy an annual patronage for the show. There were a number of people that didn't like the monthly recurring bill, if you will, the recurring support model that Patreon is. So we offered that as an option. So you can go there, and if you wanted to be a $10 patron for the year, you would pay $120 up front. And now your patronage, you get all of the perks as if you were on Patreon. I give you all of the updates. I have a little email list that I make sure that when I send it on Patreon, I immediately send it to all the email addresses for the 83 annual patrons that we have. And that's why if you go to pledgehc.com, you'll see the number of patrons there is different than the number of patrons that you see on Patreon. And that's because that also takes into account the annual patrons that we have, and it also breaks it down by month. So it's however much that the difference is between what the number on pledgehc.com and the number on Patreon. That actual dollar amount difference is how much we had gotten from the annual patrons. But we just divide that by 12, and there you go. Because even though the money's already there, it's still, we're counting it for the monthly, for the milestones, the new levels and everything. So do we have plans for that? Yeah, we do. I hope none of the 83 stop supporting the show, but that's a risk. So if you want to support the show, check it out. pledgehc.com. Definitely appreciate it. So yes, I am concerned about that, Bjorn, but all we can do is all we can do. A Gemmer says, very excited to hear about Capstone getting into Winsome reprints. I'm late to the party, so sorry if this was mentioned, but do you think Clay will continue with more Winsome reprints? I truly do not have an answer. I do not know. I don't have any information about that specifically, but I'm just going to go ahead and make some assumptions here that if everything goes well with Irish Gauge, my guess is John Bohr is going to like working with Clay, and I think John Bohr is going to be a happy partner with Clay to be able to do so, to be able to reprint other Winsome games. Yeah, and I know John Bohr kind of has a bit of a bum rap in gaming circles and stuff, but I'll be honest, he's a really, really, really nice guy. He's very direct, I think is a good way to put it, but he's he's not a bad dude. All of my interactions with him have been very positive, and yeah, so he's been good to work with. When we got the okay to print the heavy cardboard map on one side and the Kansas City interurban map that's in the show store, he was a pleasure to work with on that as well. So yeah, I do think that there's a high likelihood that you're going to see more Winsomes in the future, provided everything goes well with Irish Gauge. I think that's a reasonable expectation. Oh, okay. Brant, Rise of Queensdale is from Marcus and Inca brand. Okay, cool. Legacy style game, competitive Euro. Cool. I'll definitely be checking it out. All right. Starts medium light, but opens up to a lot more. Good deal. Franny might be biased here. Says, as someone who lives in Birmingham, I'd like to see Brass Birmingham in the running. That'd be good, right? Visit Birmingham to play Brass Birmingham and have Indian food while there. I agree, Jess. Yeah, I'm down for that. Have I heard anything that you can share about what your game's Kickstarters? I have heard very little, honestly. I know that they're coming. Um, and they've inquired about us doing playthroughs for them, both for Brazil as well as for Madeira, and is it Zanguo? I think is the other one. It's not Signori. I think it's Zanguo. So yeah, but as far as a time frame, swear to y'all, I have no more information on that than y'all do. I think they're trying to work out all the kinks for the issues that they ran into that they have talked about regarding. I think it's like banks in Portugal and Kickstarter and all that stuff. So I don't have any more dates. I don't know anything more than y'all do on that. Phil asks, more 18xx streams soon. I promise this year. I can't promise soon. But yes, absolutely. Like I said, that 80% is going to include War Games and 18xx streams. So yes. I appreciate that. Eric says, you haven't earned a little grace and trust. You've earned all the grace and trust. I appreciate it. There have been times this year that it hasn't felt like that, so I definitely appreciate that, man. Kurt asks, you mentioned a Tricarian insert a while back. It seems to be a very below-the-radar game. What do you think of it? I really enjoyed my second play of it. My first play, we didn't play with the Dark Alley. I think I was really tired when I played it, however many, many, many moons ago that played it. Played it again recently, I want to say within the last month or two, something like that, and really enjoyed it. I guarantee you're going to see a live stream of that in the next couple of months. We'll say by the end of November, for sure. Yeah, definitely enjoyed that more than I thought I had enjoyed it the first time I played it, if that makes sense. Eric says you would charge for the Golden Elephant Award winner logo on a game if they didn't actually win, though. No. I just wouldn't allow it. That's all. James, good question. So I actually have a funny thing on this. Says, I remember there being some heavy cardboard hype about the Sands of Time from Spielworks. Have you got a chance to look at it? I wouldn't say it was hype. It was excitement around Sands of Time. And then I didn't get a copy until HeavyCon. Yeah, I didn't get a copy of it until Uli brought it to HeavyCon. Then I forgot that got a copy of it at HeavyCon. And, I'll finish this thought. And I was down in the library literally 2 days ago. I'm looking around and just looking over, what do we want to be streaming to? Looking around, I get, we do have a copy of that. I really want to. I want to play that, and I want to stream that. So no, haven't gotten to look at it yet, but yes, I would like to. So that's coming. So on that note, Bart. Cheers, Bart. Thanks for the support. Welcome to the herd. Be like Bart. I like that. Thanks. Good stuff. All right, cool. Let's see. Hey, Gustavo. Oh, Rob says, question from Josh in Slack, who has to miss the Ask the Elephant live. I saw earlier this week you posted about your UMC Inc. and how you got out in early September 2001. What was going through your mind as someone who had just completed service after the 9/11 attacks? All right. So I joined the Marine Corps in 1993, and I went on what they call terminal leave on September 8th, 2001. Terminal leave, so every year you get 30 days of leave or vacation, PTO. Think of it that way, right? In the military. I had saved up 45 days worth of PTO, and a lot of times people in the military will do that so that even though you're still technically active duty during those 45 days, you go on vacation, you don't ever have to come back. And because I had served my contract, I had served two enlistment, or I had 2 contracts. I served almost 9 years. And in the U.S. military, when you enlist for 8 years. Even if you only enlist for 4, it's 4 active duty, and then it's 4 inactive duty, which means you're a civilian, but they can call you back if they need. So once my 45 days was up, I was free and clear. I'd already done my almost 9 years because my contracts overlap, hence why it was less than 9 years. 5 years on the first, 4 on the second. So I went on terminal leave September 8th, which was a Saturday, 3 days before 9/11, which was on a Tuesday. I left Beaufort, South Carolina, and was driving to Greenville, South Carolina, which is where I was going to be living with my girlfriend at the time. And within 6 hours, I had gotten my ears pierced, and I was done. I was out. I was a civilian, even though I was still technically active duty at that point. Yeah. So September 11th, 9/11 comes, and there we go. September 11 comes, and I'm sleeping, and my girlfriend at the time comes and wakes me up because I'm sleeping in because I can. And she was like, hey, somebody hit the tower, hit one of the towers. I was like, went back to sleep. And then the second tower was hit, and she was like, no, you need to get up and check this out. So I got up, and I didn't leave the couch for 2.5 days at that point. So going a couple hours, like maybe an hour passed, and obviously, when the towers came down, I had the same gut-wrenching feeling that everybody else did that saw that happen. So my first thought was, oh my God. And I'll be honest, my second thought was, oh no, they're going to call me back. I'd already done 2 med floats. I'd already done 2 Westpaks. Me and the Marine Corps didn't necessarily see eye to eye. I'm a bit of a free thinker. You may or may not know that about me. And that didn't necessarily drive super well with the do as you're told and don't ask questions mentality of the Marine Corps. And so I was like, you know what? I'm kind of all set. I didn't really feel the need to go back. I wasn't really looking forward to that. However, about an hour or 2 after all that went down, I called the ready room because I worked. I was at Air Wing. I worked avionics on F-18 fighter jets. I called the ready room and I was like, yeah. So what's going on? And they said, don't know. You know as much as we do. If we need you, we'll call you. Radio. So for 42 days, every time my phone rang, I just kind of stared at it for a minute. Like, is this when they call me back? Answer it. And for 42 days, that happened. And for 42 days, it wasn't them. On the 43rd day, I got drunk and celebrated. I didn't have to go back. I did my time. I am extraordinarily proud of being a Marine. I'm extraordinarily proud of serving my country and doing my part. But I'm all set. I think I did my part. I was good at that point. So there you go. Good question, Josh. All right. Vince says, I really wish there was more out there about Sands of Time. It intrigues me, but I don't know enough about it. A heavy cardboard playthrough would really help. it will. I would like to. Plus, it's Spielworks, and we tend to do a whole lot of Spielworks games. So, and rightfully so, right? So, yeah, it will come. I'm hesitating putting any timelines on things right now, guys, because I've bitten off more than I can chew in the past, so I've learned. How's that? All right. All right. Well, hold on. Cheers, Oliver. Thank you. Welcome to the herd. Thank you for the support, Oliver. Very much appreciate it. Awesome. Be like Oliver. Oop, uh-oh. I went way too far. Seriously? There's that much still to go? I am terrible at this. All right. Whew. All right. Still going. All right. Ann says, I picked up Arboretum at Gen Con based on watching yours and Amanda's play of it. Love that game. Fantastic. That was really, really, it's such a good game. And yes, I heard about the unfortunate reprint error on the backs of the cards, but whatever. You know, it's like the Billy Ripken or error card on a baseball card. So that's all right. So, wow. You guys are taking me at my word, aren't you? You guys are amazing. Thank you, Brandon. Welcome to the herd. Cheers. Sorry, Trevor, about Bios Megafauna. It's not a huge priority right now, but it will come if I can get somebody. And you know what? Even though it's not a high priority, if I can find somebody that's willing to teach it on stream and that's capable of doing so, that doesn't mean it won't happen sooner rather than later. So understand me there, okay? All right, take care, Clay. I'm sure that was an hour ago, but that's all right. Take care. Thanks for hanging out, dude. And Clay says, thanks for announcing Irish Gauge, Edward. I really appreciate the opportunity to do so. And he says, Tom, game's awesome. Honored to be able to work with you. That I can 100% say. Irish Gauge is my favorite Winsome, and absolutely super stoked that that's coming back. Plus, this way I can get a copy of the game. Yes. I'll take it. Dennis says, glory to Rome on you, Edward, for preaching about good games. Well, at least glory to Rome from my wallet. I'll take that. That's okay. Here's the other argument I'll make, though, Dennis. I like to think that we are saving people money, all of y'all, from not buying games that you wouldn't enjoy. So, crap games, maybe you're not buying those now because you're spending money on known good games, either that you've seen and made up your own mind from the playthroughs or you've listened to the reviews. So I like to think we're helping you make better decisions and saving you money instead of costing you money. See? It's all in how you spin it, right? It's perspective. Oh, okay. So we're getting back to the question that I asked all y'all. And Jonathan says, there's been a game or two that weren't quite as exciting to play as I thought they were to watch, but I think that came down more to my group than being misled. And Brandon says, I've never had a game suggestion from Heavy Cardboard that I felt I couldn't agree with, much to my wallet's chagrin. All right. Mission accomplished then. And E says, rare divergence of taste. Kalimala was disappointing for me. Otherwise, nope. That's the only one. And Eric says, steered wrong, no. Always right for me or my game group is different, and that's on me to make the determination. Exactly. So as long as we have that understanding, then I think then we're on the same page there. James says, I feel grossly misled by Age of Steam, says the guy who's redesigning all the Age of Steam maps. That's really funny, James. Really funny. And take care, Mur. All right, and A Gamer says, I backed Founders after your playthrough and seriously soured on it by the time I got it and sold unplayed, but that was more about a personal realization than anything from y'all. I'm curious what that realization was, Agemer. Is it Agemer or Agemer 1? Not sure. Okay. And John says, I wouldn't say that HC has steered me wrong, but I won't lie and say that I've enjoyed every game that your playthrough and roundtable discussions have recommended. Okay. That's a fair take. Brian's a good guy and just a little tenacious. Again, Brian, Grand Con. Yeah. Yeah, he is. Okay, and Phil says he's moving away from Euros in general, so that's not on us. Okay. Heard about Founders of Gloomhaven or Pixie Queen and get all hyped, and then I play them and realize I'd rather be playing a Splatter in 18XX, a classic Martin Wallace, or a classic Uwe Rosenberg game. That's totally reasonable. All right. Yorick asks, you were going to run Dominant Species at WBC. Still plans for that someday? That's something I would like to do. I would like to, that'd be kind of a bucket list thing to be able to run the Dominant Species tournament at WBC. I don't know if there was one this year. I'd like to hear whether or not there was. Nick said, boy, you guys are pushing hard. I'll say Grand Con's a good fit for you, Edward. It's a gaming con, just like MeepleCon that you mentioned how much you enjoyed earlier this year. I did thoroughly enjoy MeepleCon. That is true. Really, really enjoyed that. So, yeah, good point. Vince says, if I taught you how to teach BIOS Megafauna, would you teach it on live stream? Maybe, Vince, maybe. John says, my group didn't care for Tulip Bubble, Mini Rails, or John Company. Not to say that they aren't good games, but, all right. So I'm curious, what about your group? Is that something that you thought they would have been a good match for, or that you just tried and nope, just okay now, and you're learning more about your group's tastes on that, John? And Joseph says Grand Con's maybe 1,500 people. Great city, but yes, people are really, really, really like their con. I hope to go back sometime. Yeah, I've noticed. Kevin says he really enjoyed Tulip Bubble. All right. And Ashbjorn says, so far you've steered me away from two big games, Root and John Company, still unsure about PAX Renaissance. But that is all I can think of right now. And see, to me, I think that's doing the publisher and designer a favor as well as y'all, because we don't want to steer you into a game that you're not going to enjoy, because then if you don't enjoy it, it doesn't do good for us, doesn't do good for the designer or the publisher, because maybe then you write off that publisher or designer because you didn't have a good experience. So it just makes sense to try and make a good fit for the right, for you and your game group. It seems a no-brainer. So that's why I don't think of us as pushing games. We're presenting the games. And I mean, gamers, so get excited on occasion about this or that. But outside of that, I feel like we do a pretty good job of presenting things and let you guys make your own decision based on our opinion, and our reasoned opinion being the important thing. Or on the live streams, whether it's reasoned opinion at the end during the roundtable, or just presenting the game, teaching it, and showing you guys and let you guys make your own conclusion. Alan says, don't think Heavy Cardboard steered me wrong in any way. There were a few games I didn't dig, but that's more of a me issue than a Heavy Cardboard issue. Been around since the podcast, episode 8 or 9. Nice. And he uses the podcast, YouTube, and Slack to get interested in a game, and then we'll investigate if it looks like a game for me or not. My point is, if there's a game on the show, it's likely to be in my wheelhouse. Cool. Hey, Bobby. What's up, man? You made it. And Vince says, in terms of steering us wrong, Founders of Gloomhaven comes close. It was early in the history playthroughs, and you found more of a voice or stride. It was also early in my turn towards heavier games. I've since developed clearer taste and preferences. I think we all go through that, Vince, for sure. Developing my preferences in gaming and helping me understand what's right for me is the greatest service Heavy Cardboard gives to me, more than just finding good games. Then, you know what? Mission accomplished right there. That's awesome to hear. And Michael asks, I need to find more heavy gamers. Do you have anything that allows people to connect on your channel, website, or otherwise? We do have a Herd Around the World map, as well as in our Slack channel for our patrons. I know there have been a number of folks that have found out, oh, hey, wow, you live 5 minutes away from me. Hey, we should get together in game. And there's also the guild over on BGG, guild number 2044. So any of that, Michael, all of those are good resources in which to connect with others in the community. Oh, interesting. Brandon made an app to handle the market for 4X. That's pretty cool. I'm not surprised that you did that, Brandon, but that's awesome. I would like to check that out. Oh, awesome. YMDV10. Hi, first time for me, big fan from Israel. What's up? And that still blows me away that there are people around the world watching and listening. I know it, but it still never doesn't excite me and get me to think, wow, that's really cool. So what's up, Israel? All right. Michael says I need to check out Slack. Yup, definitely. Dutch Yoda, how is your quest for Hinkle and Stein reprint going? Every time I see Clay, I bring it up. He's got a lot of balls in the air right now, so I understand. But I think I originally said by 2019, I'm going to slide that to 2020. By the end of 2020, my goal to get a box of rocks reprinted. He played it. He enjoyed it. There's hope. There is hope. I'm not giving that up yet. No, Jason, haven't been able to check out Empyreal spells in Steam from level 99 games. I would like to, but just haven't gotten around to it yet. Brandon says, somehow I missed the Capstones reprinting Irish Gauge. We timed it to where I made the announcement right before I went live and then talked about it at the beginning of this, so completely understanding that you may have missed that. Ali says, just got Brass Lancashire and strangely excited to see where I live on a board game. Stockport. I think that's cool. I dig it. Anytime I see where I'm at or where I'm from or anything like that, I think that, yeah, really, really cool. Are there any heavier games you know of with Denver on it? Well, there's the Tramways map that is set in Denver. There's that. There are a couple of train games that have Denver on it. I can't think of any others, though. Yeah, that's a good question. I'm curious if y'all can think of any. Have we YMDV10 have we played Hammer of the Scots? Yes, I saw it a few times behind your shoulders. Yes, we have. We haven't done it on stream yet because the setup hasn't worked yet for that, but we now have a plan in place, and I will say this definitively that by the end of October, I'm going to give myself a few weeks of grace there. By the end of October, we're going to have it set up to where we can live stream Block War games. And Hammer of the Scots is going to be one of the first, with Sekigahara probably being the first Block War game that gets a live stream. Franny, when is the Archipelago playthrough happening? Hopefully soon, but we'll see. It will happen. And yes, Vincent, long time ago, I saw that you played a solo game on YouTube. Played the Hunters and played the one from Board and Dice. I can see it, Blight Chronicles. Played both of those solo games. and said yesterday he saw Helinox behind me and now Nemo's War behind me, both excellent solo games. Are we going to see them in the near future? You will see them on the show. Yes, Nemo's War hopefully soon. Helinox, we'll see on that one, but eventually, yeah. Oh, Oliver. Oh, Ollie's in chat. Awesome. Thanks. Yep, that Davis tattoo is getting closer. So what is that? 274 patrons away from the Davis tattoo becoming a reality. Yes. Ollie says, I wasn't the newest herd member for long. Must be a fun herd to be in. We think it is. So there's that. Brandon says, I got Arboretum based entirely on the heavy cardboard suggestion over a year ago. Yeah, that was, played that down in the basement. Whoo, need to do another live stream of it in the studio. And Venslav, there were a couple playthroughs of Combat Commander Europe. Do you plan to do more war games and how to play videos and playthroughs? Yep, they are definitely going to be coming. As far as tactical versus strategic or operational, I'm going to probably lean more towards operational and strategic, but that doesn't mean to the exclusion of tactical war games. But yes, there are going to be more coming. Tesla, would you try Terraforming Mars with the Prelude expansion? Actually got the Prelude expansion at Gen Con, so yes. Think your biggest criticism with it was that it's a little long, but now Prelude quickens up the early game? Interesting. That'd be cool. I'm looking forward to checking that out. Ian O'Toole shirt restock. Yes, we need to reset the numbers because we did recently get more shirts, so we need to do that. I will do that this weekend. I'll make a note of that right now. Okay, cool. YMDV10, you're the guy that loves exactly the games that I love. We have we have the same incredible taste in games. I agree. Heavy Euro, 18XX, and War Games are game groups named Serious Gamers. Nice. That's awesome. It's so cool to me to think that just all over the world there's little pockets of heavy gamers, and we're growing, so that's awesome. And by we, I mean the heavy gamer community, not just heavy cardboard. Yeah. Bjorn says, what part of your body will Davis appear on as a tattoo when we reach 1,000 patrons? Will that be decided via a patron poll? I don't know if I'm willing to give other people that big a say. I might choose the location. We'll see. I'm not going to promise one way or the other on that, Bjorn. Oh, yes. I remember this. Okay. So YMDV10 is asking basically, how do you explain board games are not only for geeks, but how you explain... He wants me to make a video to explain modern board games and how the family of games and all of this, and something short and concise that we can explain to new people that are coming into the hobby what's amazing and what this hobby is about. And that's something I definitely would like to do. So yeah, shoot me an email. I know you have in the past, but let's try and flesh out an idea on this and see if we can do something. I think that would be cool. Yeah, and it really is. Franny's right. A very fun, polite community on Slack. It is the only place on the internet I have ever seen such contentious topics discussed completely and totally civilly. Yeah, it's amazing. Everything gets discussed on there, from social justice ideas and movements and all of that. There was a recent discussion about everything that's going on with Ant Labs and all of that, or Ant Lab, And just there are a lot of hot button topics that are being discussed in Slack that everyone has stayed amazingly civil and level-headed about and are willing to listen to one another. And it's the only internet community I've ever seen that honestly self-corrects itself. There have been people that have gotten heated about one topic or another, whatever it may be, and comes back and is like, you know what? Hey, I was being a bit of a jerk. I'm sorry. Nope, that's on me. Where do you find that on the internet, dude? That's amazing. So yeah, this community is just amazing. Really, really amazing. Hey, Ryan. Ryan Courtney, the designer of Pipeline, is in the house. Ryan, you should actually come to a convention so you and I could sit down and talk. That would be novel. Should do that. Ollie asks, is there a way of seeing any heavy cardboard patrons near me? Yep. And I'm sure the mods will take care of that. I already mentioned the different ways to find one another for sure. Excuse me. Andrew asks, when's the next drawing for the game day around the world? Because we have one that's going to be, I believe it was in Nashville, I think. The second one actually is going to be just either ahead of or just after Essen. We're going to do the drawing for that, Andrew, for reasons. Jason says, you've steered me away from Plenty, Arkwright, and John Company. Love QE and my single play of it, trying to get my group into more heavy games. Well, then, you know what? If games aren't going to be a good match, then we're doing our job if we're steering you to or away from, depending on whether they would be a good match. Brandon says, thanks everyone for the warm welcome. Been lurking for quite some time. Been listening to Heavy Cardboard since the Tony days. Just needed to actually click the button to donate. We appreciate it very much, Brandon. Thank you. And that's awesome that you've been around for that long. That's very, very cool. All right, have fun playing 1849 tonight, John. No, we have not chanted Goa yet. That's coming, obviously. That's why it's up there. That's going to be in the next couple of weeks as well. And Venslav says, since you're amazed from people all around the world, heya from Kiev, Ukraine. That's awesome, dude. That's amazing. This never gets old, man. This is really, really cool. And obviously, Rob's down in Australia. We have Franny over in the UK. This is not to discount those of you here in the States or Andrew up in the Great White North, eh? But no, that's awesome. So, yeah, this never, ever gets old to me. Oh, okay. Seki Gahara and Hammer are YMDV's favorite war games. Good stuff. Oh, Boarding. Now Boarding by Tim Fowers contains Denver on the map. He's over in Salt Lake City, I think. So that makes sense that that part of the country is on there. Cool. All right, good deal. Thanks, Ann. What war game do you recommend to start out? I'm more interested in operational level with vehicles than infantry. Ooh, boy. Let's see. Unachimba 9, I think is how you would say that. Wow. You know what? Honestly, for starting an operational level, that's a really good question. And honestly, I would ask in the guild or in Slack because I don't know that I have a good answer for you for operational entry-level game. Because I can think of strategic, I can think of tactical, but operational, I can't think of one off the top of my head. That's a really good question. Sorry I don't have an answer for you. Oh, well, and there goes the herd. Venslav says tank on tank from Lock and Load Games. Easy rules, tank on tank combat. Okay, cool. Yeah, and Jesse's probably right. Zero chance we're not choosing Edward's ass for the Davis tattoo. Hence why I'm not really willing to let the patrons decide that, I don't think. And Robert says, what's wrong with his forehead? Exactly my point. See? Ugh. Oh, BGG's down apparently. Is Pipeline coming in 2018? I believe it was supposed to be 2019. I realize you were asking Ryan that, but I'm pretty sure it was always scheduled for 2019. What's up, Rainer? Good. Hey, you brought the jokes last night. Well done. You and Franny, Jess. Yeah, well done last night. That was a lot of fun. Neck tattoo. Nope, that won't happen. Sorry. Solafide entry level operation. No, Solafide not. At least the one I'm thinking of would not be. That's not a war game though, is it? Rainer, Edward, in case you missed this from yesterday, since, well, elephants. An elephant and a cymbal fell down a cliff. Ba-dum-bum. Awesome and terrible all at once. If it weren't for me currently being in sunny California, I'd be missing this and asleep at China. 4 a.m. there now. Going back in a week, yay for the herd around the world. Seriously, Vince, that is amazing. Oh, look at that. I have caught up. But don't worry. There's still more here. All right, so let's see. Age of Steam related announcement, already covered that. Will there be a survey coming out for HeavyCon attendees? Nope. Honestly, because the venue's changing. And honestly, I am really happy with the way things went, save for a few of the attendees. And no, there's nothing that I think feedback that we're going to need as far as feedback goes. I think we got everything that I would want. So no, I don't feel the need to do a survey this year. What new to you or could be an oldie game has been a standout for this year? I mean, Root's got to be up there, right? Let's see, what else? I hate these. You know, you would have thought I would have prepared for these since printed them out, but I'm really excited to get back to the table a lot of older games and so on and so forth. Stuff like Goa, stuff like Navigador, Imperial, Automobile by Martin Wallace, stuff like that. I'm really itching to get back to some of the older games as well, both just to play as well as the live stream and review. So yeah, there's going to be more of those coming. Is there a possible upcoming playthrough of Democker? A new reprint is coming next year. Do you know something about this? Yep, it is coming. It's going to be... there are some pretty hefty changes from what I've heard. I don't know what the changes are. That's just what's been conveyed to me. And I would love to do a 5-player Democker. It would be a bastardization of the rules because everybody who plays it plays with some mix of 2nd and 3rd edition rules, or at least the majority of people, I think. And so we would explain that going in and then play it. But yeah, I would love to make that happen. That'd be a long stream, but absolutely want to do that. How would you value the importance of BGG as a place of interaction with people, content promotion, etc. with respect to heavy cardboard? Emil's asked. I mean, it's the biggest gateway for on the internet. It's the biggest presence and a huge meeting place for gamers. So I feel like there's a fair bit of it, but honestly, social media and Slack and the guild, and less so on the guild. There's another question on that I'll address here in a little bit. For direct interaction and for promotion, I feel like those are a bigger thing because honestly, BGG can be a little heavy-handed when it comes to promotion. promoting live streams, this and that, et cetera, et cetera. And because, I mean, obviously they welcome all of us content creators to upload all of our stuff there, but it doesn't help when things are live. So they're not really open to that too often, I've noticed, and they aren't really, outside of posting in the game forums, there really isn't an avenue for promotion on that stuff outside of the guild. And yeah, so it has its place for sure. Any plans to have a Facebook Heavy Cardboard discussion group separate from the Heavy Cardboard Facebook page so that it could be a forum for discussion and less of a one-way communication? Not really, I'll be honest. And then Skippin kind of chimed in on that and said the guild provides your that. Sadly, when Slack happened, it really killed guild participation. If you look at the majority of the guilds on BGG, they're not super, super active. But yes, Slack did take away from the guild participation, but it didn't take away from my participation, because if you look at any of the other content creators' guilds, they're not super active in their own guilds either. It's the community. I am on Slack just because there's only so many hours in a day, and between Twitter, between Facebook, Instagram, and Slack, and the guild, that's really, I just don't have enough bandwidth to do more than that. So no, there's not any plans for that. I think Slack does a very good job of doing that, and it's very focused on, outside of random, because random is random, it does exactly what it is that Emil's is asking for. Is it behind a $5 paywall? Yup, it is. And trust me, we've gotten enough, there have been a vocal minority that don't agree with that and don't like that, and I understand that and I appreciate it, but that's the direction we've chosen to go with that, and it's worked out really well up to this point, and we hope it continues. So yeah, hopefully that answers that question. Per asks, Edward, you seem to like Root a lot. I agree, but still waiting for my copy, and I think it could bring more people into that, in that I think, being Edward, could bring more people into heavier games and will be a big hit. Could you elaborate a little bit in that regard? I kind of alluded to this a few times previous, but Root's got cute artwork, and it's got a quick playtime and relatively simple rules overhead. Just the factions are completely so different that playing your faction well and playing against the other factions that are in the game well is not easy, which is a sign of a good game in my opinion. But I think all of those things combine to make it extraordinarily approachable, and I think having Cole design it and the other games that he has designed being heavier games, I think this could be absolutely a huge gateway drug for a lot of people, and that helps us as a community of heavy gamers, that helps us as a community that is the herd of Heavy Cardboard, and it helps Heavy Cardboard because obviously that's where we live. So yeah, I think Root could be a really, really good game for that, and I have high hopes for it. And he said your other players on the Root patron only playthrough seem less enthusiastic about it. Is that a fair comment? I think one of them wasn't super keen on it, but it wasn't against it, and the other wants to just play the factions more to be able to play better, I think is a good way to put it. But yeah, they weren't, and this just goes to show that not every game is going to be for every person. Just because I think something doesn't mean that's 100% right. And it doesn't mean that, oh, this game is amazing, doesn't mean it's amazing for everybody. So I think that's important to note, that otherwise we would just have one game. Oh, this is a great game for everybody, the end. And that's not the case. Play what you dig, right? So there's that. Cool. All right, that's all those. So now I can get back to the chat here. Yes, do you even Hellenica, bro? That was so much fun last night. We had a blast on the live stream. That was a lot of fun. Yep, Democker is going to be coming. Tinner's Trail. That's another thinky filler type that I would love to stream as well. Oh, I ticket to ride on Denver. Yeah, that makes sense on one of the maps. Yep. Kingmaker, I'm not terribly interested in, Samantha, but that doesn't mean we wouldn't do it. I'm not always super stoked about every game that we stream. That doesn't keep it from being streamed. Now, I say this obviously because we're on YouTube, but this also includes, reviews on the podcast. So there's that. Plan on playing through new GMT games? Absolutely, yes. Just a matter of time. And I'm going to have a lot of time to dedicate. So even more so than now than I have been. Denver is also on a map of places I can relatively easily drive to. You should come out, Rainer. That'd be awesome. We always welcome up HCHQ to listeners and viewers, friends of the show. Vince says, so you've gained 3 patrons, 2. Since the Ask the Elephant, this seems to be a common occurrence during the Ask the Elephant. You should do this more often. I'm going to try and do it monthly. Or are you saying more often than that, Vince? I think once a month is good so that people can have questions that come up, because doing it more often than that, I feel like I don't think people would be interested in that, but I don't know. Y'all can tell me otherwise. Here I stand. Not anytime soon, Scott. Maybe one day, but not anytime soon. Alan says, speaking of HeavyCon, any new thoughts on HeavyCon Europe? Not going to be in 2019. There will be one HeavyCon. But more than that, past that, we'll see. I definitely think there's interest for something like that, for sure. The tattoo's not happening by itself. We're getting there. I guess it was 3, wasn't it? Yeah. All right. You're right. Sorry. Yep. HeavyCon Europe would surely be really popular. I certainly would have loved to attend. Even at cons I go to, it's hard to get heavy games to the table sometimes. It's something I will absolutely consider, I promise. Ashborn, I would clear almost all scheduled stuff off for HeavyCon Europe. Noted, fellas. Noted. I think there needs to be a next step for Root. I wouldn't say John Company is the next step, but yeah, I'm sure maybe the second edition of PAX Premier. We'll see. Whoo. All right. What time did we even start? I don't even remember, but it's 3:00. All right. I think I'm going to call that good. Nice. All right. So thank you, everybody, for hanging out, spending your Friday afternoon or evening or morning, depending on where you are, I suppose. Or maybe it's Saturday down under, Rob. I'm not sure. Anyway, thanks for spending a couple hours with me. It's been fun to hang out and catch up with you guys. And yeah, I will be back sometime in September, late September probably, for another Ask the Elephant. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel, as well as you get notified whenever we go live. And thanks to the new patrons and the existing, so the 726 of y'all, really appreciate it. If you guys want to be like Bart and Ollie and the rest of them, go to pledgehc.com, support the show there. Very much would appreciate it. I am really excited at the idea of getting a Davis tattoo. So yes, let's do that. All right, cool. All right. So you guys have a wonderful weekend. I will be back Sunday, either via the weekly look ahead, or if we decide against doing that, we'll have it out on social media, the Guild, Slack, etc., on the upcoming content. There's going to be a couple of live streams coming up early next week. Actually, here, I can just tell you what they are. They are Power Grid, and it's going to be Aegis Theme Montreal Metro are going to be the live streams scheduled for next week. All right? Thanks, everybody. Y'all have a wonderful rest of the week. Yeah, week and weekend. All right? Take care, y'all.